Everyone's got their thing that they gave up. For me, it was BMX. I was always on a BMX bike as a kid. I rode everywhere, built sketchy ramps in my driveway, and probably should have been arrested for trespassing more than once. Took a break, picked it back up in my 20s, took another break because, you know, life, and then decided to do it again at 43. So here I am, 43 years old. I'm riding BMX again. Well, at least trying to remember all the tricks I used to know. I was never that great, but it was always fun. Since I was a kid, I can always remember there being a BMX bike in the garage, covered in years of dust, but hey, it was in there still waiting for me to come back to it. And I'll be honest with you, I was pretty hesitant to get back into it. Knowing the pain of crashing, the unforgiving rigid frame that doesn't treat the bones the same as they used to. But the thought of getting back on the bike and hitting the local skate park outweighs the cons. So alright, listen up. You're in your 30s or 40s, life is goodish, and for some reason you thought the same thing. You know what I need? A BMX bike. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's a midlife crisis, maybe it's both. Either way, I'm here to walk you through the 5 things you need to know before you become the oldest person at the skate park. Spoiler alert, you're gonna embarrass yourself a lot. When you get out here, you're gonna notice some things. Everyone's younger than you. Yes, you are the oldest dude at the skate park if you're in your 30s and 40s. But you know what? It doesn't matter because you're out here to have a good time. You're not out here to be the best. And all these kids right now that are riding, they're better than you. You just have to accept that, and it's okay because you're still gonna have a great time. All right, first things first. You're not as young as you feel. You're as old as your knees will tell you. These kids around here, they're made of Red Bull and rubber. They don't get hurt like us. We're older now. We fall down, we go boom, we break. We're not like them. So get that in your head before you start this adventure. You, as an adult trying to do this, you're 20 minutes away from throwing your back out. So what I'm saying is, just be cautious and know that you're not as young as you used to be, so you can't just dive right in. At this point, you just need to embrace it, lower the expectations, and just have a good time. That's number 1. You see these right here? These are not just fashion accessories for bike riders. These will keep your noggin safe. These will keep your knees safe. Let me be clear. You are not a child. You will get hurt. If you fall down and go boom, you're about 6 weeks of rest before you can do this again. And trust me, you don't want to get home and have your spouse ask you what you were doing and trying to be a kid. So safety comes first. Don't forget about those. That's number 2. Here's another tip. Stretching, it's a thing. You're not young. You will pull things. You will pull backs. You will pull hamstrings. All those things that you can pull. So I suggest stretching. You'll look like an idiot, but guess what? You won't hurt as much, and that's all that matters. All right, let's get down to the bike. You need a good BMX bike. You don't need a crappy BMX bike. If you buy a cheap bike, you will have cheap results and you will get hurt. So therefore, you're an adult now, spend some money and get a good bike. Don't go to Walmart, that will break. You know, bikes are dope, but they're only dope if they're good quality. I've had my fair share of cheap bikes back in the day, and I'll tell you this, they never last. I mean, that's the main reason why you want a good quality bike. Spend the money, you'll be happy about it, and you'll have something that will last. I mean, let's face it, these things are made to get thrown around and get thrashed around. So you don't want one that'll last you a couple weeks. You want one that'll last you at least a couple years. Cool thing about BMX bikes is that they will last you a couple years if you take care of them. So don't cheap out. Get a good bike. You'll be super stoked that you did. There's lots of really good brands out there right now. For me personally, I'm riding this Colt, and I'm really digging it. In the last few months, I've had, I don't know, maybe about 3 or 4 different BMX bikes to find which geometry I like the most. And pay attention to that as well, because geometry matters. You may not know when you first get into it, but eventually you'll get to that point where you understand it, and then you'll be able to pick what works for you the best. And that was number 4. The last but not least, number 5. To me, this is the most important one out of all of them. And the reason for this is because this is what makes BMX fun. Find a crew to ride with. It doesn't matter if they're older, it doesn't matter if they're younger. BMX riders are the most open people to want to hang out and ride bikes. If you're here to ride bikes, they all encourage each other to do new tricks. That's what you need. You need a solid crew of homies to hang out with, and man, that's where it becomes the funnest.
Yeah.
Mother, you're f***ing it up. That's what BMX is all about. I mean, without a good crew to ride with, it's gonna be kind of boring. Not to say you couldn't do it alone. I mean, if you're a little embarrassed in the beginning, but I would say find a crew, ride with them, and have some fun. All of my homies out here, they're all younger than me. I'm the old grandpa out here having a blast, but you know what? It's worth every single second. So find a crew and keep riding BMX because you'll get better before you know it.